And joining me now for a very special conversation on this entire Kashi matter, the refusal to accept the truth, are two men related to Kashi. One, of course, is Vishnu Jain, and other is historian and author Vikram Sampath. It's been a big day as far as the fight largely connected to Kashi Vishwanath is concerned. I do congratulate Vishnu Jain joining us, also Vikram Sampath. Many thanks for your time. Vishnu, I want to begin with you. Looking forward, a lot is going to be talked about the ASI report. Now, you must have seen responses from the Muslim side. They say report is not proof or evidence. As the lawyer in this case, the petitioner in this case, I want to ask you, how much are you going to rely on this? How much is this report going to increase or improve the case that you've been fighting?
No, this has a evidentiary value in terms of provisions contained in Order 26 Rule 10A. Under Order 26 Rule 10A, when a report is filed, then it has the same value and it becomes the record of the court. After hearing objections from both the sides, then it becomes the record of the court. Let me tell you that in Ram Mandir case, the ASI survey formed part of the record of the court and it has the same evidentiary value as any other evidence which has been filed in the court of law as part of the record of the case. So it has evidentiary value, and by virtue of section 45 of Indian Evidence Act, it has the evidentiary value as an expert opinion. For example, to explain my thing in a simple term, in a criminal trial, the post-mortem report, the handwriting expert report, has an evidentiary value of an expert opinion. In the same way, in Gyanvapi case, the Archaeological Survey of India report will have the same evidentiary value as an expert opinion.
Yeah, but I want to understand from you, how much are you going to rely on this ASI report alone, or is this one of the things that you will use moving forward in this case?
No, definitely we have lot of chain of evidences. There are various travel accounts. There are various historical books which has evidentiary value under section 57 of the Indian Evidence Act. There will be documentary evidence of this case. There will be oral evidence of this case. So this will be one of the piece of evidence, not the only piece of evidence. And we will definitely rely upon it heavily. But it is corroborating with the various historical events which has happened in the site in question in past 400 years.
Well, speaking of history, I want to bring in Vikram Sampath also. There is an insistence, Vikram, to not trust or accept the ASI report. What do you make of that? The collective response, not just the masjid side, but Muslim clerics, leaders, who seem to suggest that this ASI report should not be relied upon.
Then what else are you going to rely upon? You're not going to rely on scriptural evidence. You're not going to rely on historical evidence. You're not going to rely on, travelers' accounts that have existed, right from the 7th century with Hyun Sang coming to the place. You're not going to rely on a modern, scientific report, which has done such extensive survey, through various techniques that I said, visual as well as X-ray, isotope dating, everything has been done, documented and dusted. Now, after that too, if you deny, then, there is nothing in the world, even God himself or Aurangzeb himself needs to be brought out of his tomb and probably made to tell you that, yes, I did demolish this place. So I think this obduracy, I think is not good, especially in the case of Ayodhya, people kept saying, where's the evidence?
Yes.
Where is the evidence? And so on. Here we are inundating you with evidence. There are reports and reports running to thousands of pages. So even now, if you say the evidence is not good enough, I think it's almost like, our neighboring country doubting the dossiers that we kept sending, in the wake of 2611. I think somewhere this should stop. We should have faith in someone. This is not a government-directed or an RSS or Hindutva-directed, survey. It was a court-monitored, court-ordered, ASI report. And ASI is a internationally renowned organization, the Archaeological Survey of India. So we have to, rely on the expertise of the team, which is a very eclectic team. If you look at it, there are members from the minority community also included in the drafting of this report. So I think at some point, people should learn to accept the truth, however hard and, uncomfortable it might be for them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that's happening. I just want to read out some responses from the masjid side. The Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid, which is the party to this case, strangely they've come out to say that this mosque was built in the 15th century, at the beginning of the 15th century, after which, this was expanded upon by Akbar. The present day Western Wall syncretic nature is because Akbar built it in the Din-e-Ilahi philosophy. Then Aurangzeb expanded on it further in the 17th century. There is an interesting facet of that ASI report, I'm sure both of you are aware of it, that there's a loose stone found with the inscription of when this mosque was built by Aurangzeb in the late 17th century and expanded in the 18th century, and that seems to have been scratched out. So leaving that aside, what do you make of this explanation or this theory that has come from the AIM that actually the mosque was first made in 15th century and even Akbar had played a role in it?
No, this is a complete bunkum. It's a lie of the worst order. And in fact, as part of my forthcoming book called Waiting for Shiva, Unearthing the Truth of Kashi's Gyanvapi, I reference this false claim that has been made not now, Shivani, but almost for 100 years now. In 1936-37, there was a case called the Deen Muhammad versus the state. It was a non-representative suit in as far as the Hindus were not made party to it. It was between the Muslim side and not even the masjid side, some individual Muslims who took the government of India, which was a British government, to court at that time. And during the very lengthy proceedings of that case, which I document in detail in my book, the same claims, just around the time that case was going on, there was a Muslim barrister called Farooqi who came out with this book, which was a hagiographical account of Aurangzeb, which kind of gave cover fire for all of this. They made the same claims that the Din-e-Ilahi Ibadat Khana was built by Akbar and so on. Now, in that judgment, which the judge, honorable judge at that time in British India had gone through all the records, and he said Akbar, there was no proof that Akbar had built any Ibadat Khana in any place other than Fatehpur Sikri. So not the least in Varanasi, not the least in this particular place. Then they tried to sabotage that proceedings by saying it was actually Dara Shiko's Sanskrit Pathshala, which was there, which also, the judge threw out of the window, because right from 1810, this place has been contested. And so the judge's contention to the Muslim side then in 1936 was in all the proceedings from 1810 to 1936, in the Muslim side representation, why have you not brought up the fact that it was Dara Shiko's Sanskrit school, or it was Akbar's, this Ibadat Khana or any of that? And if you look at also cross-verify the traveler accounts, there was a French traveler called Jean-Baptiste Tavernier who came just a year before this Kashi Vishweshwar Mandir was demolished, and also in 1630s by this man called Peter Mundi. All these people document that there was a grand Bisheshwar temple at this spot. And in fact, Tavernier writes later that I visited this place. I think he wrote it after the demolition, but as a memoir of the past, he said, I had visited this grand temple which was demolished by Aurangzeb a year or so after I visited it. And all these people had also made drawings and sketches of people going and putting water on the Shivling and the structures that were there in the Garbhagriha and all of this. So these were foreign travelers. They were not, some Hindutva people or whatever like that to make false claims. So I think this is subterfuge of the worst order, where you spin so many stories. First you say it was not even a mosque, it was an Ibadat Khana. Then you say it's a Sanskrit school. Then you say it was not demolished by Aurangzeb. Now that loose inscription that you spoke of, which was discovered, it clearly mentions that in the 20th regnal year of Aurangzeb, somewhere around 1677 or so, so about 10 years, that means after demolition. So the Masir-e Alamgiri clearly documents on 2nd September 1669, the soldiers giving back the report to Aurangzeb that as per the Badshahi Farman, we have demolished the Kashi Vishwanath temple. And this inscription comes as a logical sequence to that, saying 10 years later, you had the mosque built at that spot. And the other one, which was, I think, 1792 or so, was when the repairs and reconstruction was made. And that was when the last line, which says this was done at the behest of the Mutwalli of the mosque, or the superintendent, that seems to have been erased. But in the ASI journal, the original inscription is there, which the ASI report also documents, to show which was the last line that was sought to be removed. So I think there are certain facts of history which you can't make up in this manner. And I would really urge and hope that the masjid side doesn't stretch this argument so much and belittle and deny every honest claim that is made to them, and make such fantastic foolish claims about all these things not even having been destroyed by Aurangzeb, when his own authorized biographer has mentioned it in the Masri Alamgiri. I don't think Aurangzeb needs cover fire from today's Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid people.